In this episode of the Motor City Hypnotist Podcast, Matt, we're going to talk about bizarre mental disorders.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
And it's going to be just what it sounds like.
aren't all of them kind of bizarre to begin
Well,
with?
I mean, depression. I mean, they can all be bizarre depending on, but these are out there a little bit.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
I came across this article I was reading, and I'm like, oh, that'd be good for a podcast. It's just things that you don't hear about very often, and some things you may never have heard of. But yeah, we're going to talk about that. And as usual, we'll give away free stuff. Hang in there, folks. We'll be right back.
Get ready for the Motor City Hypnotist, David R. Wright, originating from the suburbs of Detroit, Michigan. He has hypnotized thousands of people from all over the United States. David R. Wright has been featured on news outlets all across the country and is the clinical director of an outpatient mental health and hypnosis clinic located just south of Detroit, where he helps people daily using the power of hypnosis. Welcome, the Motor City Hypnotist, David R. Wright.
What is going on, my friends? This is David Wright, the Motor City Hypnotist. We're back with another episode of the Motor City Hypnotist Podcast. Hello, Matt Fox. That's the other voice you hear.
Yes.
We're here in the podcast Your Voice, Southfield Studios, doing a podcast. We're trying something new that I just picked up.
Oh yeah.
It's Old Soul, and we're probably gonna break that out during Man Cave at some point.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah, you guys can give it a try. We had that wasn't that a limited barrel?
It was a select. It was a
select
pick.
barrel.
It was
a pick
okay. That was
okay.
done. Yeah.
So I thought I'd try the original. So far, it's
it's spicy.
It is. It's got a bite.
It does have a bite. I
yes.
added some ice into mine already because I really need to work tomorrow.
The ice is going to help.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will.
No.
Yeah. Okay. So, folks, let me tell you where you can find me. My website is motorcityhypnotist.com. Prom season is just about ending. Well, for me, it has ended because I did my 3 shows. I was just in Illinois over the weekend. Shout out to A-Town High School in Galesburg, Illinois.
Interesting.
Great group of students and volunteers. We had a blast. It was super cool. Yeah, good show.
In Illinois.
Yep, right on the border. It's Western Illinois. So,
okay. You made it. You
did
it.
I got there. I got back. So, I got a little break in a week and a half. I start grad season, and that's going to be chaos for about 3 weeks straight.
Yep. I won't, I'll be hearing some great stories.
Oh yeah. And I'll be hitting a bunch of local schools. My first one, which I've done before, Grand Blanc. We had a great time last year with them. So I've done them for a couple of years. So I'll be back. That's my first one of the run on a week from Saturday. Nice. And be busy until June 11th, I think.
Excellent.
Fantastic. So yes, if you are late minute needing a hypnotist for your grad night, motorcityhypnotist.com.
There you go.
Check on shows. You can book it online. You'll get a quote in minutes. You can book it, sign it, pay for it, everything online.
Sweet.
Cool.
Do it.
My social media, Facebook and YouTube, are both Motor City Hypnotist. And Snapchat and Instagram are both Motor City Hypno. That is HYPNO. And for your free hypnosis guide, which we give away all the time, every show, text the word hypnosis to 313-800-8510, 800-8510, and it'll come right to your phone. Actually, if you're on your phone or your computer, you can, I don't know if you can text it on your computer. You probably can. If you have a texting program or something. Yeah. So big thing is wherever you're listening, whether it's on whatever podcast platform you're on, give us a review. That helps tremendously. In fact, I just said I did this show in Illinois over the weekend. I already got a couple of reviews on it, which is fantastic.
From the parents, yeah?
Yeah.
Sweet.
And then I may get some from the kids because I have a banner like you guys have your podcast, Your Voice banner. I have one of the exact same setup, but my stuff on it. Oh, in fact, I think it's the exact same brand. It's got that swivel thing in the bottom and that pole that hooks underneath. And yeah, it's exact same type of sign, but my stuff on it. So yeah, we'll see. We may get more. And leave a review and connect, join, link, whatever you do on your platform. So you get the show whenever it drops.
Sweet. Love
Alrighty.
it. That's my word of the night. Sweet.
It's time.
Here we go.
how winning is done.
Something in your eyeball?
Yeah, I got like an eyelash in my eye or
I was
something.
gonna say it's your finger, but
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think hopefully I got it. Otherwise,
that's on camera.
I'll just be a pirate for the rest of the show.
Arr. All right.
All right. This is a cute story.
Okay.
Kelvin Ellis and Matthew Busbis kindness on surveillance cam. Oh, I'm sorry. Skip that. That was the caption of the story. That was captioned under a photo. That I didn't print.
I'll be right back.
Yeah. The man in the purple shorts only wanted to step outside for a quiet moment of prayer whilst waiting for his coffee, but ended up attracting the attention of the young man in the gray sweatpants. The meeting produced an incredible moment that fortified the man's faith in humanity, which is a strong statement, but that's what he said. The story from the Baton Rouge starts when Matt Musbis woke up to the fire alarm outside his condo complex. Throwing on whatever clothes he had lying around, he ran outside only to find it had been a false alarm. Figuring that the rude awakening was irreversible, Busbis decided that regardless of his unkempt appearance, he would go get a coffee and start his day. It was about that time that young Kelvin Ellis had entered an eyeglass shop next door with his father, but stepped out while his father was getting his eyes examined. Meanwhile, Busbis, who had placed his coffee order, went outside for a morning prayer and stepped aside to the corner of the outdoor sitting area to have as much privacy as possible. That's when the young boy Ellis spotted him. And I started to slowly open my eyes, and there's a kid coming at me about at my height, gray sweats, holds up his fist up, Busbis said, adding that rather than flying into his chin, the fist was holding a dollar bill. And I go, what? The boy said, if you're homeless, here's $1. 9-year-old Kevin Ellis Jr. recalls telling Busbis, I always wanted to help a homeless person, and I finally had the opportunity. Not only is Busbis not homeless, but he's developed several outdoor brands that have been sold in deals together worth upwards of $100 million. Ellis, on the other hand, possessed only that $1, which he received from his father for good grades. Busbis told CBS News' Steve Hartman that he had not felt faith in humanity to that strong of a degree in a very long time. As a reward, Busbis took Ellis for a snack at the coffee house, then surprised him with a 40-second shopping spree in the sporting goods store Buckfeather, which he currently runs.
40-second?
Yeah, I know. 40-second shopping spree.
What is this, a TV show?
Maybe. Among smaller items, Ellis grabbed a compound bow and a new bike, but said none of it is what he had planned to spend his money on. Joy, because I helped someone, Ellis said. Give something away and you feel like you've got a lot of things from it.
Okay.
There's a lot of merit to go around in this beautiful story. Busbis for his generosity, Ellis for his kindness, and the boy's father for teaching him such valuable wisdom, if indeed he did. That's what the story says.
Okay.
So the kid thinks this guy's homeless. I don't know if you're the front part of the story, Matt. I can recap it real quick.
Go for it.
Guy heard a fire alarm, jumped up, just threw clothes on, sweats, t-shirt, looking kind of unkempt and ruffled. At that point, he thought, I'm just going to go get my coffee and start my day. Then the kid saw him out. So the guy put in his coffee order and he said he went outside to pray. So he found this isolated spot outside the coffee shop, and the kid came up to him with $1, thought he was homeless.
Oh my goodness.
To give it to him.
While he was praying for something.
Yeah,
I guess
while he's praying.
Yeah.
But the guy has businesses worth $100 million.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, it's fortuitous. It's almost like destiny in a way.
Yeah.
That this kid is looking to help somebody, gives $1 to who he thinks is a homeless dude, but is actually a millionaire.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, being in the banking industry as long as I was, you get a lot of characters coming through the bank. And
I'm sure you do.
The biggest thing, and those days have passed, but the biggest thing that I would explain to my team would be, you can't just judge them as they walk in the door. They're there for a reason. You're here for a reason. If you automatically judge them by their appearance, and it's got to be every single person, every single time you treat them with respect. We would say, welcome to the bank or what have you.
Sure.
You're welcoming them into your home pretty much. these are strangers, and you get to know these strangers. And
absolutely, yes.
But if it's somebody you've never met before, you just can't judge a book by its cover.
Well, this is a good example.
Yeah.
I mean, the kid did judge, but he did judge, but he was attempting to do something nice.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
Even though he misjudged. Yes, exactly. But you never know who you're going to run into.
No.
Like you said, the guy in the sweatpants and wrinkled shirt might be a millionaire. You never know.
No, it's what is that story I hear about? Somebody got on a plane and they were just the smelliest person ever. And he happened to be a millionaire. He just had really bad hygiene.
Oh no!
And you sit next to somebody next to the plane.
Well, you think he'd, no, we won't get into that.
Everyone's different.
Whatever. Everybody has their own things. So to the kid, Kelvin Ellis,
yes,
and Matthew Busbus, the business owner, definitely
winners of
the week for sure.
Thank you.
How winning is done.
Yes, it is.
All right.
Good story.
I'm really intrigued.
So, back to it.
So we're going to talk bizarre.
So we're talking about bizarre mental disorders. Now, a couple of these you may have heard of. Honestly, I've heard of, I'm just going to go through. I think there's 10 on the list.
Okay.
And actually, this technically could be a top 10 list, but I didn't bill it as that.
No, you did not.
I've only heard one of these of the 10.
Oh, okay.
So
you're in
being in mental health for like 32 years, and then so we'll start with the first one, and you probably all know this and have heard of it: Stockholm syndrome. It is a bizarre mental disorder. It's a psychological response, typically seen in hostage situations.
Right, you fall in love with your
when the hostage becomes sympathetic or loyal or compliant with their abductor.
Right.
And the syndrome it can also take place, not necessarily in a kidnapping or hostage situation. It can happen in families too, like with abusive spouses,
right,
or an abusive parent. That can also happen that way. Do you know what the syndrome's named after, Matt?
Well, I know of Stockholm, Germany, right?
Sweden.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know my geography very well. But yeah, I don't know.
So it's named for the city Stockholm, Sweden.
Okay.
And it happened in 1973. That's where the term originated.
Okay.
So in Stockholm, Sweden, bank robbers held employees hostage for 5 days. From August 23rd to August 28th of 73.
Who held who hostage?
There was a bank robbery.
Oh, bank robbery.
And they held everybody in the bank as hostages.
Okay.
For this 5 days. The victims became emotionally attached to their victimizers, even defending them after the fact. When they were freed, they were defensive of the people who had held them captive.
They only got $5.
I know. Let's listen to this. This is where it really hits home.
Okay.
After the gang was tried and sentenced to jail, one of them married a woman who had been one of the hostages.
Yeah, I believe. Yeah.
That blows my mind. When I read that, I'm like, wow, that's a bit kooky.
That is kooky.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
That is, they felt something somewhere.
Probably one of the most famous examples is Patty Hearst.
Patty Hearst.
Yes. Do you know Patty Hearst?
Okay. Vaguely, yes.
Okay. Patty Hearst was a millionaire's daughter who got kidnapped in 74 and developed a relationship with her captors.
Okay.
And later took part in another robbery they did. She helped them eventually. So
someone has to drive.
Well, I mean, it is kind of a bizarre thing, because you would think somebody who is keeping you, kidnapping you, keeping you prisoner or hostage, there would be no feelings of sympathy or positivity towards these people.
We just watched the worst movie on Netflix last night.
That's a bold statement, Matt.
Well, aside from Rebel Part 2, Rebel Moon Part 2.
Okay.
But it was called Rust Creek. And if you want to save an hour and a half of your life, that's absolutely the best idea. But the young lady was being held captive and ended up becoming sympathetic, empathetic.
Oh, yep.
But that they were their captor, but they weren't at the same time. So it's kind of borderline Stockholm syndrome.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
But yeah, just don't even waste your time with it.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, Stockholm syndrome. Again, we've all heard of that, and honestly, there are some things in here I didn't know. That one of the hostages married their captor. That one I didn't know that one, and I knew Stockholm syndrome originated in Sweden back in the early 70s.
Is that a gun in your pocket, or you just happen to hold me captive?
Oh, great Odin's raven.
Maybe, yeah. It's hard to say.
What happened?
This old soul's growing on me.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, with the ice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I put a
nice
few cubes in there.
A couple cubes, yeah.
Yep. So what's the next one?
Next one is Lima syndrome. Lima. Lima syndrome.
Okay.
The exact opposite of Stockholm syndrome.
Well,
this is where the hostage takers become more sympathetic to the plights of the hostages.
Okay.
Yeah. It's named after the Japanese embassy hostage crisis in Lima, Peru, where 14 members of the Tupac Amaru Revolutionary Movement, that's a mouthful.
That is a mouthful.
MRTA, took hundreds of people hostage at a party at the official residence of Japan's ambassador to Peru. The hostages consisted of diplomats, government and military officials, and business executives of many different nationalities.
Okay.
They happened to be at the party, and this one is more recent. This situation began on December 17th of 96 and ended on April 22nd of 97. So you're talking about months.
That's a long time. Yeah.
You're talking about 4 months of being a hostage.
Yeah.
Within a few days of the crisis, the militants released most of the captives with seeming disregard for their importance, including the future president of Peru and the mother of the current president. After months of unsuccessful negotiations, all remaining hostages were freed by a raid by the Peruvian commandos, although one hostage was killed.
So the whole Lima
the whole Lima one is opposite of Stockholm syndrome, where the aggressors become sympathetic to their hostages.
Jeez.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, I that's one I've never heard of that. I've never heard of the opposite of Stockholm syndrome.
That's a first for me,
yep.
David.
These pronunciations, forgive me, but some of these are a bit tricky.
All right. What's the next one?
Diogenes syndrome.
Diogenes syndrome.
Yep.
Okay.
Diogenes was an ancient Greek philosopher who lived in a
Diogenes.
He lived in a wine barrel.
What?
And promoted ideas of nihilism and animalism.
Keep throwing some grapes in here. Go ahead.
Famously, when he was asked by Alexander the Great what he wanted most in the world, he replied, "For you to get out of my sunlight." So Diogenes syndrome is a condition characterized by extreme self-neglect, like your guy in the airplane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Reclusive tendencies.
Okay.
Compulsive hoarding, sometimes of animals.
Okay.
It is mainly found in older people and is associated with senility.
Okay, so they're senile at the same time.
Well, it's associated with that. It doesn't mean they are senile.
They are okay, so it's associated.
It could happen at any age, but it tends to happen more with older adults.
Okay. Diogenes syndrome.
In the story states it's actually a misnomer, since Diogenes lived an aesthetic and a transient life, and there are no sources to indicate he neglected his own hygiene. But nevertheless, the name stuck, and that's what it's called. So again, reclusive, self-neglectful, a hoarder.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've ever watched hoarders on TV,
yes,
these are the type of people.
Got it.
Yeah.
I just pulled that up, and it does occur in both men and women.
Yeah.
The excessive hoarding, the dirty homes, like I said, poor personal hygiene. Yeah. Yeah. Withdrawn from life and society. Okay.
And typically this hoarding gives them an emotional, and I just know this from my experience. Hoarders don't, the stuff they keep is not necessarily useful. We know that.
Yeah.
It's sometimes garbage. It's sometimes stuff that's broken. The problem with most of these people who end up being hoarders and probably would fall into this syndrome typically have had some sort of loss or trauma. And their stuff is what gives them comfort. And being in that hoarding environment, it makes them feel secure.
Right.
Even though you can't move, you can't,
We did watch one episode of Hoarders, and
yeah,
the dad in the episode had, I think it was ceiling fans.
Oh.
And he had brand new ceiling fans in the basement, in the box. He just couldn't get rid of. He just really knew that he was going to use them one day. And he'd had them for 30 years.
Okay. So not likely he's going to use them.
Right. But there were so many. So many.
I don't know if you saw the Hoarders where the guy, it was an old guy who'd lost his wife, and it was a sad story.
Sure.
And but his home was infested with rats, like hundreds and hundreds.
Like Secret of Nim type stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were in the walls. There were holes in the walls. They come in and out, but he didn't want to get rid of any of them because for him, he loved them.
Yeah.
But with that many rats running around there, half of them were dead, and there's feces everywhere, which
that's sad.
That can, well, and it is sad because when I
it's quite pungent. It stings the nostrils.
Yes, it would.
Yes.
But yeah, it's a sad thing. But yeah, some people do fall into this syndrome. So
it's but if you have someone in your life that is like that and you want to help, talk to them.
Well, the big thing is, and I'll say this because I have had some experience, and in fact, it's been a while now. I'm going to say over 10 years. I had to call CPS because I was seeing a child who was 10. But throughout the course of our first few sessions, he would say things to me just like, because I'd say something about bed, and he'd be like, "Oh, I don't have a bed." I'd be like, "Oh, where do you sleep?" He goes, "Typically I just sleep in a chair." I'm like, okay. But then as we got more into it, he lived in a hoarder house.
Wow.
We found out.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. And that's tough. It's tough to deal with.
Very.
All right.
What's the next one? We're getting bizarre.
This is very specific. And again, I'd never heard of it, and I would have no idea how this would come about.
I'm ready for it.
Paris syndrome.
Okay.
Now, this has nothing to do with Paris, the city.
Is it have
Paris
to do,
syndrome?
Wait, let me guess. Does it have to do with watching movies that star Paris Hilton?
No.
Well.
No! Don't shut me up.
No, it is not.
All right.
But some people might fall. Might have that.
Okay.
We'll call that Hilton syndrome.
Okay. Well, I'm looking at what it is right now.
Okay. So this condition is exclusive to Japanese tourists.
Okay.
And nationals. What happens is they go to this big city and they have mental breakdowns because of the hustle and bustle and population. And so millions of Japanese tourists visit the city every year, and around a dozen every year suffer from this reaction. And they have to be returned to where they came from.
So used in quotes, it's kind of like a state of severe culture shock.
Yes.
Used in quotes.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's exactly it. Well, and I'm reading, you probably have the exact same article I do, Matt, because the next sentence, this condition is basically a severe form of culture shock.
In quotes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So polite Japanese tourists who come to the city, they can't separate their idyllic view of the city from the reality. So it's almost like they have this pre-painted picture in their mind of what the big city is like.
Sure.
And when they get there, it's not what that's like at all.
Right.
They are sadly disappointed. They get in there and
What happened?
Yeah. They keep, they go to New York, they look up and they're like, I'm getting dizzy because the buildings are just always looking up.
Well, and it's just, and plus it's just masses of humanity. And here's the other thing that happens. Typically they're more passive as a culture. And so let's say they come into contact with a rude waiter. They don't know how to handle that. That it overwhelms them because they will bottle up the anger because they typically won't show that in public.
Right.
And that's more of a cultural thing. And listen to this. The Japanese embassy has a 24 hotline for tourists suffering from culture shock.
Yeah. I can see that.
Now think about that. What if that happened here?
Okay, explain that question.
What if we had people that go to New York or LA or even Detroit and flip out? Most people would be like,
well,
put me in a pussy. That's what they would say, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there would be I don't think there would be any empathy towards them.
I don't know if if they were to make that phone call to the police station or to a hospital and they were saying, hey, I'm having some really difficulties trying to adjust on this vacation to your city. What are some of the resources that I can tap into? I don't think they would know the answer to that question.
Yeah, I would think so. And I don't know how many people would actually make that call because at that point you're so overwhelmed emotionally and mentally.
Turn around and take your ass home.
It's like, just get out. I mean, and I will say this probably falls into some form of, I'm not going to say antisocial, but just having that aversion to crowds and socialization. And most of the time these people are, they're isolative. They don't want to be out in a big place and with a lot of people.
So then to protect oneself, from the potential of maybe if you're susceptible to like changes and going on a trip or what have you, prepare yourself.
Right.
Do your due diligence.
Well, do research, learn as much as you can so you know what to expect. So it's not as, but even so, it's just an odd one because again, this is specific to Japanese tourists.
That's so weird.
Yeah, I know that's why it's bizarre.
It's bizarre.
It's bizarre. That's why, it's crazy. I don't know what's going on.
Wow. Okay.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. Stendhal syndrome. Stendhal. So Stendhal syndrome, it's a psychosomatic illness that causes rapid heartbeat, dizziness, confusion, and hallucinations. Even when an individual exposed to art, usually when art is particularly beautiful or a large amount of art is in a single place. So again, it's being overwhelmed by seeing something.
It's an overreaction.
Yes, definitely an overreaction.
You see something and it's really mind blowing. It's beautiful.
Yes,
and you're faint of heart. Your heart skips.
Yeah,
a beat,
it's almost
right?
like they feel too much.
Yeah,
that's kind of the way I like to look at it.
Okay,
and definitely it's also a term that's used to describe reactions similar, like when somebody is just overwhelmed by the natural beauty in the world. Like if they're, I don't know, maybe they're in the redwood forest and they just get so overwhelmed by it that they start having these psychosomatic symptoms.
The first time I saw you, I had Stendhal syndrome.
That would be a great line, Matt. That's
You have a brain like a chicken.
I had loss of consciousness. You made me faint when I first met you. Stendhal syndrome.
So this is named after, Stendhal syndrome is named after a famous 19th century French author, Stendhal, who described his experience with this phenomenon during his 1817 visit to Florence, Italy. In his book, and he wrote a book from Naples to Florence, a journey from Milan to Reggio, something like that. So he actually wrote about it because he had this phenomenon, the Stendhal syndrome. Again, being overwhelmed by beauty.
It's a clinical phenomenon in which the presence of something, a beautiful piece of work or architecture, causes those moments.
Yes, causes this physiological response that is similar to a panic attack.
Yeah.
That the symptoms are exactly the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you treat that differently than you would anxiety or panic?
I think we would treat it as far as just being the ways to treat it would be similar: mindfulness training, visualization, relaxation techniques, things like that. If I had somebody with this, what I would do is, as a therapist, I would introduce them to things and get them used to saying bigger things, if that makes sense. Like work up to it.
Come on, baby, let's go to the DIA.
Like don't go to the Louvre right away. Just go to the library and see a couple kids' pictures, whatever.
Let's go to the DIA and get our Stendhal on.
Well, yeah, you could do that and just do a little bit. Yeah. It's like I always got
ease into it.
Yeah, definitely ease into it, and it's exposure therapy. That's really what it is, to get people more used to the feeling and not have it go as far.
I like that. I guess you could say I probably in my lifetime I've had experiences like that, just not knowing what it was.
Right. So what were the things that you think? What were you seeing when this happened?
Right. Well, one, the SR-71 at the Air and Space Museum in DC at the airport, the second Air and Space Museum, and then right behind it being one of the I can't even speak right now.
Too much old soul there, Matt.
Yeah, it's the space shuttle sits right behind the SR-71.
Yes,
and the visual is stunning. And those of you into the aeronautical things, it's stunning, absolutely stunning.
I'm going to sound totally like a geek, which I am, but you know where I saw that? Seeing the original Starship model at the Smithsonian.
Yeah. That's it. That is there. It's an amazing place. You go to the regular Air and Space Museum. And it's great. The history. You got the Spirit of St. Louis, and you got all the stuff hanging from the walls. But you go to this other second location. John Mulaney hates second locations, right? But this is a fantastic second location.
Yes.
But they've got stuff you could just walk right up to it. You know, you're standing 4 feet away from the nose of the space shuttle.
And you know what the thing for me that blows my mind on that? You're looking at this vehicle that was in space.
Yeah.
And it's right there. You can just about touch it.
What really got me is I read this book. It's called Skunk Works. And it's all about the stealth technology that was developed through, for Vietnam, the SR-71, the bomber. All that technology was started in the 60s.
Yep.
And they had the research center in the middle of a bog. And it was the smelliest thing. That's why they call it Skunk Works.
Yeah.
And on the back of the plane, on the tail of the SR-71, is their insignia. It's a skunk. Seriously. And that's the actual plane that made the trip from California to DC.
It's quite pungent. Stings the nostrils.
And that used to be top secret time.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
It's like an hour,
absolutely.
an hour and a half away from California to DC, going 30,000 feet up, and just killing it. Anyways, that's where I had my Stendhal moments,
so I get this, and honestly, I never knew there was a term for that, or that it was that big of a deal. So
I like that.
All righty, folks. I think we're about halfway through this list.
I love it.
That's perfect timing. So what we're going to do is we're going to finish up bizarre
mental disorders.
We're going to finish that up next episode. So those of you on Facebook Live, stay here. We're going to be right back and record our second episode. Those of you listening on whatever platform you're on, you can skip ahead to the next episode or wait till Tuesday or Thursday when the next one drops. So before we end this episode, somebody needs a home.
Okay. Who is it?
Watson. Watson needs a home. Watson is just born. It's a puppy.
Oh,
it's a lab mix.
Okay.
It's male. He will be about 60 to 70 pounds.
Okay.
Dog friendly, yes. Cat friendly, unknown. Kid friendly, yes. Activity level is medium high. It's a puppy.
Does he have a Watson syndrome?
Oh my gosh. Do you want to see Watson?
Yes.
You'll want him. You'll want Watson.
Okay.
This is Watson.
Oh, come on, man. I have a pulmonary valvular stenosis.
Watson needs a home.
Oh, Watson is actually
here. I'll let you look closer, Matt.
There's actually something called Watson syndrome, and it's of dull intelligence, actually. 20 years ago, Watson described 3 families with the condition characterized by pulmonary valvular stenosis, cafe au lait patches, and dull intelligence.
He have a brain like a chicken.
Honestly, yeah.
Right.
Anyways, okay, Watson is adorable.
Yes, isn't he?
It's a lab mix. He's such a puppy. It's tough to see.
I know. It's tough to see what what he may look like.
It says cat friendly unknown. At that young of an age, there'll be a friendly cat dog.
Well, as long as they're introduced soon,
early,
yes, early on.
Yes.
That's the big thing, and that's the most important.
All right, fair enough.
All right. So anyway, Watson, DetroitDogRescue.com. Adopt. Watson needs a home.
Adopt, don't shop.
Yep. Adopt, don't, no pet stores, no breeders.
Yep.
He's ready.
Yay. Yay.
All righty, folks. Again, Facebook people, live people, stay on. Everybody else, you can catch show on Tuesday or Thursday or skip ahead to the next one.
All right, here we go.
In the meantime, change your thinking, change your life, laugh hard, run fast, be kind. We'll see you next time. In this episode of the Motor City Hypnotist podcast, we are finishing up our shows about bizarre mental disorders.
This is great.
Yeah, we covered I think 4 or 5 on last episode. So if you want to jump back an episode and catch up, that's cool. Or you can listen to it after this one. You'll get all the information, just maybe not in order. But yeah, we're talking about bizarre mental disorders.
I just want to go get my Stendhal on.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't know what Stendhal is, listen to the last episode.
Exactly.
There you go. And as usual, we're giving away free stuff. Hang in there, folks. We'll be right back.
Get ready for the Motor City Hypnotist, David R. Wright, originating from the suburbs of Detroit, Michigan. He has hypnotized thousands of people from all over the United States. David R. Wright has been featured on news outlets all across the country and is the clinical director of an outpatient mental health and hypnosis clinic located just south of Detroit, where he helps people daily using the power of hypnosis. Welcome, the Motor City Hypnotist, David R. Wright.
What is going on, my friends? This is David Wright, the Motor City Hypnotist, and we're back with another episode of the Motor City Hypnotist podcast.
I haven't done this in a while.
I know, man. It's only been like 60 seconds since we...
I haven't done the woohoo.
Oh, the woohoo. Oh, yeah, cool.
I just did this.
Nice.
What are you people? On dope?
And I'm still going, woohoo.
So we're here in the podcast Your Voice, Southfield Studios.
Matt, take a Quaalude.
Matt, that's Matt Fox, the other voice you hear.
Yeah.
Hanging out, doing a podcast. Good times.
Mm-hmm.
So let me tell you, folks, first of all, where you can find me.
Yes.
My website is motorcityhypnotist.com. Check that out. Prom and grad season are in full swing. So if you're looking for a show, now's the time. We're running out of time.
Yeah.
And dates, because schedule's filling up quickly. So
prom season is just about over, but it's the grad season that's going to be.
Yeah, grad season's coming up, and I do a lot more work during grad season. See, it's different in the country, like different areas, like Michigan. I don't know anybody in Michigan that does, and I'm not saying it doesn't exist. There's so many different schools, and I probably reach only a fraction of them. But
sure.
But the big thing is here in Michigan, almost everybody has grad night, all night grad night parties after graduation.
Yes, I know I did.
Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin, even Florida. I've done some post prom in Florida. They do prom night all nighters. They don't do grad night parties.
Oh.
So it's just different. It's
leave it to the Floridians.
Yeah, whatever works. So anyway, grad season is coming up. So if you don't have your entertainment yet, now's the time.
All right.
So check that out. MotorCityHypnotist.com shows. My social media, Facebook and YouTube, are both Motor City Hypnotist. And my Snapchat and Instagram are both Motor City Hypno. That's HYPNO.
Like it.
And as usual, on every episode, we give away a free hypnosis guide. It's a PDF I wrote. It's not too heavy. It's only a couple pages, but it gives you an outline of what hypnosis is, what it's not, dispels some myths and misconceptions, and just kind of in general tells you how it works. And that's yours for free. Just text the word hypnosis to 313-800-8510. And again, that's 313-800-8510. If you need that number, look at the show notes or just go right to my website, motorcityhypnotist.com. That's the number on the website.
Perfect.
Fantastic.
Make it easy.
Big thing, wherever you're listening, whatever platform you're on, please like, connect, join, whatever it is to connect to the show so you get it whenever it drops. And the big thing is also leave a review. Reviews help us. It's fantastic. We just want more people. And the other thing that Matt brought this up last week or maybe a couple weeks ago. Give us some feedback. Let us know what you want us to talk about. Maybe you have something that, I wish they would talk about this. Let us know.
Yeah.
You can do that through a review. So either reach out through my social media or in a review on one of your podcast platforms,
right?
Or a review on the website. So either way, reach out. And if something specific you would like us to talk about, absolutely let us know.
Do it.
Fantastic.
Love it.
All righty. It's time.
Here we go.
How winning is done.
So before you get into this mind-blowing story,
yes,
you do know that a lot of folks that do listen to podcasts,
mm-hmm.
a lot of podcasts, and I really am happy that they do this. They'll do their commercial bit, if you will. I'll use that in quotations.
Mm-hmm.
Their commercial bit. If there's our socials or what have you. Me as a podcast listener, when I start hearing that, fast forward 10 seconds, fast forward 15 seconds.
Yeah, right.
So I really appreciate how short you keep yours.
Well, yeah, because I mean, I'm just giving the information. So there's no reason to you can find it if you want it.
Yeah.
So
it's there.
I don't need to beat you with it.
No, I thank you for keeping that stuff short and sweet.
No, it's whatever I can do.
So hit me with something good here.
All right. This is a bizarre story. And,
okay.
Don't worry. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm just going to read it.
Okay. Here we go.
A Utah house cat was reunited with its parents recently after her nap in a favorite hiding place turned into a 6-day nightmare.
Are they Mormon?
It's hard to say. The cat's name's Galena. Galena the calico.
Okay, go on.
Was accidentally shipped in the box she had snuck into to the Amazon fulfillment center in Jurupa Valley, California.
I heard this.
Did you hear this story?
I did hear this story.
Yes,
I did. The cat slept in its favorite in a box.
In a box.
Its favorite thing.
Yes,
is a box.
Yes.
That's what cats do.
Yes,
and they packed it up and
shipped them out. Yep. Oh, yes, epitomizing the internet adage of "it fits, I sits." Galena had cozied up inside an Amazon box, unaware that the shoes she was sharing it with were due to be returned.
Oh, boy.
Owners Carrier and Matt Clark love their cat as much as she loves sitting in boxes. But her quiet, demure demeanor got the best of her this time, and she needed all 9 lives to survive in the box for 6 days without food or water.
Slap an Abu Dhabi sign on the side of it and you're off.
She was aided, said Carrie, by 3 miracles. The first was that Matt didn't seal the box perfectly.
Okay. Typical guy.
She probably
Oh, good.
She probably yelled at him. You don't know how to seal a box.
Don't most men not know how to seal a box?
I don't know. You just tape it up. What's?
Oh, you're talking box as in like that you mail. Oh, I'm sorry. Go on.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
Was that not PC? No? Okay. Go on.
What the fuck are you doing?
So we couldn't seal the box properly.
Yes, okay.
So it's miracle number 1.
So that's miracle number 1. The second was that the weather was not too hot at the time.
Good.
The third was that only one person in the whole Amazon location knew how to handle such a situation, and she worked in returns.
Thankfully.
Yes.
Wait, something actually worked in returns?
Yes,
oh my
in
goodness.
Amazon.
All right.
Once in Jurupa Valley, she was discovered by an employee who in turn called their boss, Hunter Brandy, the returns manager, who also happens to love cats and fosters and rescues them as a sidekick.
Well, that's serendipitous.
Isn't it? This whole thing is serendipitous.
Yeah.
It's like meant to be. She showed up despite not being at work that day with a cat carrier and some food.
Man. So I'm curious with this cat. So she's got a very demure demeanor, very loud. So not even a meow, nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to say.
Usually my cat in the car, it won't shut up.
She eventually warmed up to me and let me pet her, Hunter said in their statement from Amazon. I could tell she belonged to someone by the way she was behaving, so I took her home that night. All this time, the Clarks, who had experienced their cat simply vanishing without a trace, were in a dire fret.
So how did they figure out that they packed the cat in a box?
They searched for hours around their home, put up flyers in the neighborhood, called friends and alerted neighbors, but there was nothing more that could be done.
Zilch at that point, yeah.
Hunter eventually took Galena to a vet to make sure she was recovering, or to make sure it was recovering from its ordeal, and to check for a microchip.
Perfect.
Galena was microchipped, leading to a phone call that Carrie first thought was a joke. Galena loves to sit in boxes like the one in this undated photograph from before the incident. Galena must have snuck into a box without him seeing and without us knowing, and then Matt came back and taped the box back up, Carrie said. She loves to hide in boxes, so she was pretty happy in there. She didn't make any noise.
You know what, Dave? I give it a couple of years.
Here, I'm going to give you a picture of her in a box.
Thank you.
The cat in the box.
Okay, so you heard the story of McDonald's and the coffee incident?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
I have a feeling the next couple of years on Amazon boxes, there's going to be check for your pet.
Yep. Like, I'm going to sue you.
Yeah. That honestly.
Sue everyone.
Yeah. If she fits.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
I
mean, that really got out of hand fast.
If she fits, I sits. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can almost see that on the box now. Check for your pet.
The owners literally had emotions of laughing hysterically to crying hysterically. It was just so intense. It was the strangest emotion, feeling both of those at the same time. A lover of cats, Hunter asked Carrie if she could record the meeting after they drove down to California to pick Galena up. This moment and all the rest of her life with her family would not have been possible had she not been microchipped, Hunter wrote. Although I most definitely would have kept her and loved her to pieces myself had she not been chipped, her family would never have known what happened to her, and that breaks my heart.
Right. That's wow.
GNN reported on how science has shown that cats will find boxes to sit in, even if the box itself is an optical illusion. There's a strange, if almost unbelievable lesson in the story of Galena and the Amazon box. If you've got to mail something big, check for fur before sending.
No! Don't shut me up.
If your car can tell you to check your back seat for your kid, they could put a warning on the box.
On a box.
Yeah.
No animals allowed.
No check for your pet. Or
so
check for animals.
I just thought this was bizarre. So the cat got shipped across the country,
literally,
in a box, and was in there for 6 days.
And didn't say a thing.
Yeah.
Not even a meow.
Well, maybe, but it was probably in the back of a truck all that time or on a plane.
Okay. Have you heard an animal, a cat in a car?
Yeah. Well, no, I don't. I'm not versed in cats. I've never owned a cat.
I've owned cats my entire life. You put a cat in a car and they are, we tripped.
Do they just not like it?
They don't. They meow. They get really,
whine.
They want. It's not a whine. It is a guttural. Oh my God!
Okay.
Get me the heck out of here.
Okay. All right.
We traveled. My mother packed my sister and I into a Volkswagen Rabbit. 2 kids and 2 cats and drove us from literally Alaska to Maryland.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
And these cats, we literally knocked them out so they would be able to be relaxed. We literally knocked these cats out.
Well, yeah, and it's better for them.
Yeah.
And they can just sleep through it.
And it was better for everyone in the car, too. Those of you that know, you know.
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
So anyway, to the Clarks and Galena the cat.
Yes.
Great story.
Thank you. I did
Good
hear
story.
That's how winning is done.
Yes, it is.
So, back to it.
That noise that cats make in the car, it's stuck in my brain. So I just know it all too well, David. So bizarre mental disorders.
Yes.
We're getting back into this.
We are.
I love this. This is really, really great because I apparently have some bizarre syndromes that I didn't know.
Yeah. I mean, maybe people have experienced some of these, but again, that they are bizarre and they're not, they're not very common. That's the big thing.
No, they're not.
This is not like people are going to be coming in every day with Paris syndrome into your office.
No.
Right.
But you can look for it now.
Okay. This one.
Okay.
You'll probably know it as soon as I say it. What's involved with this one? This one's called Jerusalem syndrome. And most of these probably come from places. A lot of these syndromes are named after places.
Okay. Yes.
So Jerusalem syndrome it's a name given to a group of mental phenomenon involving religiously themed things, places. So it leads to like obsessive ideas, delusions, and other psychosis-like experiences that are triggered by a visit to the city of Jerusalem.
Okay.
So again, it's religiously, it's based around religion, but it's kind of being overwhelmed by the place you're in.
You know the slogan for Jerusalem, right? Come on, get your God on. That's their slogan.
Okay. I know.
Come get your God.
Are they wailing at the wall because of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're God on. No, it's
listening to you no more.
it's a, it becomes because you're so overwhelmed by the feeling of Christ, going on around you.
Right.
It really hits you and it manifests itself and makes it almost obsessive, right?
So the big thing is it's not limited to just one single religion or denomination, but it has affected Jews and Christians more overtly, which is where the name came from, being in Jerusalem.
Right.
Because I mean, think about it. If you're a practicing Christian or you believe in Jesus as
your savior,
yeah. And you go to the place where he was, that would probably be an overwhelming experience.
Of course it would be.
Yes.
Of course it would be. Because you practice your entire life. You're a devout, religious believer. Of course you're going to become overwhelmed by that feeling.
So here's the important point on this syndrome. Of all the people who have suffered this spontaneous psychosis, all of them documented have had a history of previous mental illness.
Okay.
Or were deemed not to have been well prior to their visits. So it's almost as if, well, and I can say this, because I deal with a lot of different mental illnesses, that people who are already mentally ill are probably more susceptible to other syndromes.
What if they
walk other issues?
Right. But what if they walk away clearly with a stigmata?
Is that self-induced or I don't know.
It might be something, but
What happened?
Yeah.
But I understand where you're coming from with folks that have been diagnosed previously with some type of mental disorder.
Well, because they're already more susceptible to delusions or hallucinations or off-center beliefs, let's say.
Absolutely fair.
So
yeah.
So that's Jerusalem syndrome. Capgras, CAPGRAS.
That's the next one. Is that
Capgras delusion.
Capgras, is that the next?
This is a bizarre one. I mean, of all the ones we've had, this is the most bizarre one. The Capgras delusion is a rare disorder in which a person holds a delusional belief that an acquaintance, usually a spouse or other close family member, has been replaced by an imposter.
It reminds me of a movie from the 1970s.
The Body Snatchers.
There it is.
Yes, Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
That's right.
So here's the catch here. It is most common in patients with schizophrenia. I mean,
understandably, yeah, I can see that.
Although it can occur in those with other dementia and brain injury.
Okay.
This is from one case report. Okay, I'll read you this brief. It's don't worry, it's not like a whole case report. It's just a paragraph from it. Mrs. D, a 74-year-old married housewife, recently discharged from a local hospital after her first psychiatric admission, presented to our facility for a second opinion. She had received the diagnosis of atypical psychosis because of her belief that her husband had been replaced by another unrelated man. She refused to sleep with the imposter, locked her bedroom door at night, asked her son for a gun, and finally fought with the police when attempts were made to hospitalize her. At times, she believed her husband was her long-deceased father. She easily recognized other family members and would misidentify her husband only.
Wow.
So she was aware of everyone else. Everyone else was normal and right, except for her husband.
I've got something here. It says in CS, Capgras syndrome, the imposter can also replace an inanimate object or an animal.
Oh, so she could believe her husband was their dog.
Right.
Yes. Yes, it is bizarre.
It's very bizarre. Wow. Okay.
Oh, speaking of movies, Matt,
yes.
the paranoia induced by this condition has made it a common tool in science fiction books and films, including Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Total Recall, and the Stepford Wives.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
So apparently Hollywood knew all about this before we did. I'm just saying, you know.
Wow.
What in blazes are you talking about?
All right. Well, Total Recall, I can see, you know, he's like, hey, I'm this person, but no, I'm this guy.
Well, and then his wife was also not.
But yeah,
I mean, that was in the fan in the.
He got his ass kicked by her.
Well, yeah, absolutely. All right, next.
All right, how many more do we have?
Probably 3.
All right, perfect. I love it.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Fregoli delusion.
Fregoli?
Fregoli. Fregoli.
F-R-E. Got it.
So this is similar to the last one we just talked about.
Okay.
The Fregoli delusion is a rare disorder in which a person holds a delusional belief that different people are in fact one single person who changes appearance or is in disguise.
Okay.
The condition is named after the Italian actor Leopoldo Fregoli, who was renowned for his ability to make quick changes of appearance during his stage act.
Huh.
So he's like the master of disguise on stage, and this is where it came from.
What was the actor's name that was master of disguise?
Leopoldo Fregoli.
No, the newer one, Dana Carvey.
Oh, impressionist.
Impressionist.
Yes, right. Right.
He can change.
Right. Yep.
You know exactly who he is just based on his facial expression that he makes.
Lost my place. Oh, this disorder was first reported in 1927 by 2 psychiatrists who discussed a case study of a 27-year-old woman who believed that she was being persecuted by 2 actors whom she often went to see at the theater. She believed that these people pursued her closely, taking the form of people she knows or meets. So, to put it into a real life example, I could believe that my son was actually Brad Pitt in disguise, and he was there just to mess with me. I mean, that's kind of the logic. It's not really logical, but that's the kind of thinking that goes along.
Well, when he walks around the house going, "What's in the box?
What's in the fucking box?"
I saw a picture of Brad Pitt with a big smile on his face, looking in a box.
Morgan
Morgan Freeman's walking up.
I just saw that,
and then there's cats in the box.
Yes, I just saw that.
Yes.
I swear, Matt, I just saw that today. I saw that meme today. That's why it clicked with me.
Finally, it's been answered. What's in the box?
Cotard delusion. Cotard.
You're not supposed to say that. With the C-O?
C-O-T-A-R-D.
Okay, Cotard syndrome.
Cotard delusion is a rare psychiatric disorder in which a person holds a delusional belief that he or she is dead.
Okay.
Does not exist, is putrefying, or has lost their blood or internal organs.
Just read that part. I'm like, wow, okay.
Rarely, it can include delusions of immortality.
Okay.
Because, I mean, if you believe that all your insides are gone, then something's keeping you alive.
Right. I don't need lungs. Take them both. I don't need
So here's one case study from January 1990. After his discharge from the hospital in Edinburgh, his mother took him home to South Africa. He was convinced that he had been taken to hell, which was confirmed by the heat, of course, and that he had died of septicemia, which had been a risk early in his recovery, or perhaps from AIDS. He had read a story about someone with AIDS who died, or from an overdose of yellow fever injection. He thought he had borrowed my mother's spirit to show me round hell, and that he was asleep in Scotland. It is named after Jules Cotard, a French neurologist who first described the condition, which he called, I'm not going to be able to say this, le délire de negation delirium, in a lecture in Paris in 1880.
It's also called walking corpse syndrome.
Oh, yep, fantastic. Yep.
Interesting.
So people believe they're dead.
Yeah. Parts of the body are missing, that they're dying, dead, or just don't exist.
Yep.
I don't have a heart. How is the blood getting through my system?
Well, yeah.
I'm immortal.
Well, I mean, these are delusions. These are mental illnesses. So this is not this is not normally logically functioning people.
Yeah, WebMD is saying there's about 200 known cases worldwide.
Okay, yeah. So very rare.
Very rare.
Very rare.
Very
yes. Okay, I think is this our last one?
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Reduplicative paramnesia. If you just want to see the spelling, it's
I
that
got
bottom
it.
one.
I got
Oh,
it.
you got it?
I can spell.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
So this disorder is the delusional belief that a place or location has been duplicated, existing in two or more places simultaneously, or that it has been relocated to another site.
Have you ever seen Mission Impossible?
For example, a person may believe they are not in fact in a hospital to which they were admitted, but an identical looking hospital in a different part of the country. Yeah.
Yeah. It's there's like time and space going on. With,
yes.
With this paramnesia.
The term reduplicative paramnesia was first used in 1903 by the Czechoslovakian neurologist Arnold Pick to describe a condition in a patient with suspected Alzheimer's disease who insisted that she had been moved from Pick's city clinic to one she claimed looked identical but was in a familiar suburb. To explain the discrepancy, she further claimed that Pick and the medical staff worked at both locations. So with this one, and with most of these, I'm going to say there's a lot of rationalization as far as your thinking goes. I mean, and I put it like this: when people are delusional, many times they believe their delusion. Many times people are aware that they're delusional,
right?
But in this case, they believe their delusion. They will be insistent that there's a duplicate place that I got moved to, and nothing you say is going to deter them from that thought.
Okay. That is wild.
I know it's just bizarre.
These are like mind blowing.
No, I know.
Mind blowing. Really.
When I said bizarre mental disorders, these are definitely, again, these are not common. I don't want anybody out there to freak out and be like, oh my God, I don't want to get that. Believe me, it's very rare. And a lot of these bizarre conditions are predicated on probably already having some sort of mental illness. Although I will say, and that's not fair either, because of, in my opinion, 95% of the population has something.
There's also reduplicative amnesia, reduplicative amnesia as well. So the delusional misidentification syndromes that are out there, that one is rare, but associated with a traumatic or an acquired brain injury or even a stroke.
There you go.
Right.
So there's already some neurological deficiencies.
So,
yes.
And that's particularly when there's a simultaneous damage to the right cerebral hemisphere and to both frontal lobes at the same time.
Yeah.
So that, that's where some of these syndromes are coming in, is from something that has happened or that you were maybe born with, or what have you.
So we can say it is a form of dementia, or it is a form of neurological damage at times. So like I said, I don't want people to forget these are very rare, and it's not something you should be worried about or lose sleep over. But again, these are bizarre mental health diagnoses.
These are bizarre.
I know. That's what I said.
I just all of a sudden I'm like, hey, I've got Stendhal syndrome.
Is this podcast your voice in Southfield, Matt? I think this is a duplicate. Are you a duplicate?
I'm not going to answer that under the 12th Amendment because I don't know either. I just don't know.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right, folks. So that is bizarre mental disorders. We had a little bit of fun with that, but they exist. These are real. Yeah. So let me find we got to find somebody needs an adoption.
Okay. Who's it going to be? Is it
my pages are out of order. Oh, you know what? This one's going to be great, Matt.
Okay.
Just because of the name.
We had Watson before. Is this one
Watson
gonna
now?
Who's this one?
Do you want to know this dog's name?
Of course I do.
Knight Rider. Look at that.
Oh, he's beautiful.
Knight Rider. I picked him. Well, one, he's cute, and two, it's a fantastic name. Again, this is a lab mix. He was born in February 23, so he's just over a year old.
Yep.
He's a lab mix, neutered, 75 pounds, dog friendly, yes, cat friendly, unknown, kid friendly, over 10, high activity level.
Looks high. He looks like a high activity dog.
Yeah, it looks like he likes to have fun. Well, he's Knight Rider.
He's Knight Rider.
I wonder if his eyes flash red back and forth.
If anyone adopts him, your name has to be Michael.
Well, and you have to put it like a headband on him. So he's got the lights. Yeah. Here, take a look at Knight Rider.
I see. He's.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
No, you're good. He's fun. He looks like a fun pup. He's a large breed, 75 pounds.
Yep.
Neutered, so no, there won't be any little Knight Riders running around.
Any mini Knight Riders.
Wow. Come on, Michael. You need to adopt
Knight
Rider.
I know.
Jeez.
Let's we'll give you one more look at Knight Rider. He needs a home. DetroitDogRescue.com adopt.
Kit,
he's ready.
Kit, come and get me.
Yep. There we go. Alrighty, folks. Thanks for joining us on our bizarre mental health disorders.
Thank you for that.
Absolutely. All right, folks. We'll be back. In the meantime, change your thinking, change your life, laugh hard, run fast, be kind. We'll see you next time.